It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Dwight Silverman joins Jolie Odell and John C. Dvorak. It's a hot mess. We'll talk about Verizon. We'll talk about Comcast, the NSA, the new phone from Amazon, if it really is a phone, and a whole lot more. It's a crazy train coming up next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 462, recorded June 15th, 2014. Crazy train. This Week in Tech is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster, easier, and cheaper. Post your job to 50-plus job boards with one click. Try ZipRecruiter for a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. That's ZipRecruiter.com/twit. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to Audible.com/twit2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter. User ID Audible_com. And by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you'll finally have all your financial life in one place and get a clear view of everything you own. Best of all, it's free. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/twit. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show that covers all the tech news. And every once in a while, there's certain people we have on Twit that are just fan favorites. And we try to spread it out a little bit, kind of make it a special thing. This is going to be one of those twits where you probably already know because you looked at the label on the box. You're going to want to listen to this because, yes, we have Jolie Odell. It's great to have you.
My pleasure.
From VentureBeat.com, right?
VentureBeat.com. I am now the managing editor. They put me in charge.
The woman in charge of VentureBeat, managing editor Jolie Odell. Great to have you.
Thank you.
She brought us luscious fruit and shandies, which is a beer and lemonade.
Because it's summertime.
Confection. It's perfect for the hot weather. John C. Dvorak is also here because it's like bookends. If Jolie's here, John must be here.
Hey, my hair there.
Yeah, look at that. You're blonde. I always thought you were gray, but you're actually blonde.
That's funny. You're gray.
I'm gray.
You can change it. Look at Jolie. She used to be a redhead.
Precisely.
Every time
Outrageous redhead.
Yeah. I go through phases. Although I know ladies, they get that nice tint put in so they can be silver or purplish or bluish or golden.
I like it when you had the rainbow colors in your head.
And also here from the Houston Chronicle, Mr. Dwight Silverman. Always good to have you.
Hey, good to be here, Leo.
And we are going to talk about the week's tech news. In fact, let's start off with a story that Dwight broke this week. Houston, varying numbers. You said 50,000 Comcast users in Houston. I saw another that was even larger, are now sharing their internet, whether they like it or not. Comcast has been doing this all over the country since last year. We've had it here in the Bay Area. If you're a Comcast customer and you notice, gee, there's Wi-Fi everywhere, that's because residential Wi-Fi routers from Comcast are automatically being put into hotspot mode.
Yeah, they launched 50,000 here in Houston.
Yeah,
but the goal by the end of the month is for them to have 150,000 of them. And basically, what they've done, Comcast has this one router that they've been distributing here and in other cities for about 2 years. It's an Eris router, and they have split off one of the channels and separated it out of the residential routers and set it up with an SSID that says Xfinity Wi-Fi. And anyone else who's a Comcast customer can come in and connect to it for free. They just log in with their Comcast login.
In San Francisco, you can go almost anywhere in town and get on Wi-Fi if you're a Comcast customer by logging into Wi-Fi access points. But this seems to me a classic example of a company doing something good for them that's bad for their customers.
Why is it bad for the customers?
Because it's using your bandwidth. Now, they say there's no security issue, right?
Well, here the reason is it separates it into 2 channels. In a DOCSIS 3 modem, you have multiple channels, and the way they achieve the different speeds on it. I'm blustering here with this mic.
There you go. That looks
great. The way great. That looks really
He's a glass explorer.
If you straighten that, if you straighten the boom, don't have it tilted towards your mouth.
Great product.
All
Don't
right,
have
it's
it
down under my mouth now.
That's
Okay,
good. You
sure.
sound good.
All right. So the way it works is that in the DOCSIS 3 modem, there are multiple channels that can be bound to provide you service. It's how they get different tiers of speed, and they've broken one off and are dedicating it just for this.
So it doesn't
Supposedly-
count against your cap or your total bandwidth.
What cap? There's
No,
no cap on
right.
Comcast.
Oh yeah, there's 250 gigabyte cap on Comcast.
Not anymore. They dropped that.
They did.
They dropped that a while back. There are some cities where they're experimenting with tiered services similar to the way cellular broadband works, but in Houston and in most of their markets, there is no longer a cap.
So the 250 gig, actually, when they launched it, they said we're going to experiment with this. I guess the experiment was a failure because I've received notices saying you've exceeded the monthly cap.
What are you doing all day?
Downloading massive files.
Apparently.
So now I'm on the Xfinity Wi-Fi site, and it says over 500,000 hotspots. Find one near you. When you wrote this article, I think a lot of people were kind of surprised and taken aback that Comcast is doing this. What was the reaction in Houston?
Well, in Houston, there was, and what's interesting is I looked at a lot of the coverage in some other cities, and a lot of other papers were just going, oh, look, we have free hotspots, and that was the extent of it.
Right.
But here, I think people were upset that Comcast essentially did it without asking permission. They sent in a snail mail letter saying that this was coming, but I suspect a lot of people didn't pay much attention to that.
And they didn't really pitch it as, hey, we're going to use your Wi-Fi access point. They pitched it as a convenience to you. Now, if you look at the coverage map, it's mostly
I'll bet you
mostly
in the
metros.
In the terms of service, it's in there.
Oh, yeah. And you can turn
But
it
shouldn't
off.
that be an opt-in kind of thing, not an opt-out?
It's an opt-out thing.
Yeah, I believe in opt-in.
Yeah, it should,
I think we
probably
all
should
do.
be opt-in. And although then they wouldn't have that many hotspots.
No, nobody would opt in.
Right.
No, well, let me interrupt you for a second because I didn't know about this, and I want to know how do I use it? Do I go in? I got some sort of a password, I guess, my name.
No,
What's the deal?
you have your Comcast login if you're an Xfinity customer.
Okay.
So whenever you're going around town, and you'll see this in San Francisco, and you look for Wi-Fi hotspots, you'll see an Xfinity hotspot. You click it, and it'll pull up the normal sign-in thing. You sign in with your normal Comcast credentials. Now you're online.
And once
I
you
think
do
this
that,
is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Yeah, okay, it's great.
So here's the deal,
It's
though. is that
Comcastic.
it's residential. And so these modems, these are 802.11n modems. They're in people's homes, and they're not necessarily pitching it as a way to provide the city with open Wi-Fi anywhere you go. They're pitching it as you go over to your friend's house, and now you don't have to ask them for their password to get into their network.
Now, I have a
So you have a guest channel on your, in
It's
effect,
but you still have
a
a
de
guest channel.
facto
You still
guest
have-
channel. Yeah.
We used to call this war driving.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the old days,
Well-
you had to, find an open access spot. Now they're
Those
all
days are over.
So people are saying.
Can I have a question? Another question. Okay, so I advise everyone to do this. I gave up on the Comcast gear. I got rid of it because it's costing me so much money a month, and so I bought my own Motorola DOCSIS 3 modem, which doesn't have Wi-Fi on it that I know of because I didn't buy one with Wi-Fi.
Right.
What about? But I do go through a Wi-Fi gateway. Can people get to?
No.
So I'm clean.
Yeah.
So
You can opt out by going to your Comcast account or going into modem settings. You can also just not use a Comcast modem or not use a Wi-Fi modem, and you won't be affected by it.
Or not have internet access.
Yeah, or you can go. You can
Right,
have
you
another,
could be an old-
You could be with offline.
in a log
Reading
cabin.
the
So
encyclopedia at my
what I'm
house.
trying to get at, and the chat room's saying, "Oh, Leo, you're just old-fashioned. This is good for everybody. Who loses?" Were people in Houston pretty much saying, "Hey, this is great"?
I think there were some people in Houston saying that. Other people, I think, were upset by the principle of not being asked first. And there was a lot of skepticism regarding the issue of security. Comcast is saying this is a separate channel. It's not the same IP address. It's not the same SSID that you have on your existing Wi-Fi router. And so it's a completely separate channel. But the suspicion is that given how prevalent hacking is and how skilled some of these evildoers can be, a lot of people think it's just a matter of time until it's hacked, because it is all in the same box. And I suspect if there's a vulnerability at the modem, at the router level that allows them to join these channels, it'll get done.
Yeah, and also it just feels wrong that they're taking, and yet you do benefit. I don't know what to think of it.
I like it.
It feels wrong they didn't let us know.
Well,
I think it should be opt-in, but as people say, if it's an opt-in, nobody's going to do it.
Maybe, no, there are people who would do it, like you and John.
Actually, a lot of people in the Bay Area were all for meshes and stuff like that. They'd all do
Yeah.
it.
I used to
Brewster
leave-
Kale was going to set up a mesh.
In the early days of
Whatever happened to
Wi-Fi, I
that?
used to leave my access open, just, borrow a couple Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Come on
that's
out.
and by the way, which makes you plausible deniability when you get caught.
I didn't do it. That pederast across the
Yeah,
street
that
must have
guy,
been using
crazy
my
guy.
Wi-Fi.
Richard Stallman convinced my husband to put in a completely free and open Wi-Fi signal. And we can use it from the park across the street, so we know everyone in the park is using our free Wi-Fi, too.
That's not as good, frankly, or as safe as what Comcast is doing. Because
No.
it does count against any bandwidth limits you have. Now, this is my question. It sounds like there is so much extra capacity that nobody's using that they can do this and it's not slowing down your own internet. Is that what they're saying, Dwight?
That's what. Yes. They're saying that it doesn't impact your speed, that they have allocated on the network enough so that you
How
can.
about giving me a
Well, then
little
how
more
come
speed?
my HD streaming porn is always blurry, if that's true?
Because
I
you use
mean,
Pornhub,
Netflix.
and it's been my
I
experience.
mean, no, I use RedTube.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Here's one other aspect about this. One of the things that Comcast has said in its public in one of its filings with the FCC regarding the Time Warner merger is that they talked about that the Time Warner merger will allow them to do certain things like create their own cellular phone network. And the cellular phone network that they described would rely heavily on existing Wi-Fi.
You don't need
handoffs between-
3G or 4G or LTE.
Ah, nice cheat.
You can use Wi-Fi.
So essentially, they're building the infrastructure for the future that will allow them to have a cell phone service. They have a deal with Verizon right now that allows Comcast to use the Verizon cellular network. That was in the when they bought some spectrum from Verizon, they wound up getting this as part of the deal. So an analyst I spoke with said what they could do is they essentially create a phone that hands off as you're moving from Wi-Fi to cellular back and forth, and it allows them to very cheaply get into the cell phone business.
Boy, I don't know what to say. I mean, you're using their cable modem. You rent it. You pay $5 a month for it. It feels wrong, but I can't really, except for this potential security risk, I can't think of any real negatives to the end user.
I think that the idea of this cell, years ago, I was in Sweden and they had showed some guy had this technology, and I think this is what these guys want to use, where you could walk from cell to 3G to cell to 3G to cell to 3G seamlessly, whether you're walking around talking on the phone.
You can do that now with Republic Wireless. That's how.
And that's what they want to do, right?
Yeah,
they want to put you get on the cell, and then all the money is saved.
It offloads their cell sites.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what you want. You're already
I think
providing
T-Mobile
big
selling
data.
devices that do that too.
Yeah, that's how Republic Wireless works. It uses Wi-Fi unless there's no Wi-Fi, and then it will reluctantly go to the cellular network.
I did a blog post in following up on this, telling people how they can the process to go through to get your own cable modem, like John did. I have my own cable modem, and a separate router. And a lot of people kind of didn't realize they could do this, but Comcast
Pays for itself.
It does pay, but here they're charging $8 to rent one
Too
of
high.
these modems. Yeah.
That's the least
So
they
this
could do
saves
is
a lot.
say, if you turn this on or you allow it to be on, we won't charge you rent for your cable modem because you're giving us some infrastructure. I think that would be a good way to respond.
Actually,
to
that
this.
would work. I would go for that.
Then I'd be getting something for giving away.
Well,
Although
except
it was-
you're leasing it, it's their infrastructure to start with.
And there was
You're just
Comcast.
But it's on my premises. Yeah, it's their cell tower too, but I bet you they pay rent to the buildings that it's on. That Wi-Fi modem's on my premises. They're using my premises to create a Wi-Fi mesh network. It seems like I should get something for that.
What I'm hearing is that you don't like the fact that a corporation is making decisions for you and deciding what's best for the community
you're right.
without consulting you.
You need to be consulted,
So every-
and I
But you
think you
have
need
to
to be
remember,
compensated.
corporations don't have to be fair. They have to
And it's for the good of the
create value
community.
for their shareholders.
It's for the good of the community, Leo.
Let's not
Think of the
pretend
children.
That Comcast wants anything for the good of the community. The good of their shareholders is what's important to them.
I found an
being
interesting
cynical.
I found an interesting statement from Comcast.
From
know that
you?
That's right.
Yeah.
AT&T is saying that we have to merge with Uverse, and that's good because it will make everything cheaper or with DirecTV.
They're going to save
Everything's
us.
going to be cheaper if we merge with DirecTV.
It's always been cheaper. How does that? They managed to make things cheaper. I admire that.
The funny thing is, when asked the same thing, Comcast said, "Well, no, in fact, we can't guarantee that a merger with Time Warner will make anything cheaper." Or that even the bills will increase less rapidly. This is Comcast Executive Vice President David Cohen.
That was a screw.
We are certainly not promising that customer bills are going to go down or even increase less rapidly.
Totally screw up.
At
least he's honest.
No, that guy should be fired.
Yeah, you're being a little honest.
Well,
Comcast is also looking to replace the GE on 30 Rock. You know 30 Rock, the traditional building that houses
They're going to
NBC.
change. They're going to recut 30 Rock?
Is called 30 Rock colloquially, but it's the GE building. Now, actually, it was controversial when GE bought NBC and made it the GE building.
Right.
Actually, they bought RCA.
RCA,
right?
yeah.
Which owned NBC.
Used to be the RCA.
Now, of course, Comcast owns, this is so confusing, Cabletown owns NBC, and they want to take down the GE sign.
She give you a quizzical look because she doesn't know your reference to Cabletown.
You didn't watch 30.
No, I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
They want to take down the GE sign, but the funny thing is New York City's Landmark Preservation Commission has scheduled a hearing. I guess if you're on a building long enough, and GE hasn't been
Do
the GE
people
building
really
that
actually
long.
care about a sign on a building? I mean, obviously some people do, or they wouldn't be having a hearing.
They would.
It's those people.
It was the loftiest neon sign on the planet when it was first illuminated in 1937. Of course, it said RCA.
Right.
And I still call it the RCA building, but it became the GE building. I'm not sure
Why
when.
didn't they stop him from doing that?
Well, they probably had a hearing. I'm thinking they had a hearing. It will be a 12-foot-high light-emitting diode, an LED sign.
Nice.
And instead of GE,
Ew.
It'll
it's going
save
to
energy.
say
It's a good idea.
Comcast.
But it's ugly.
Where
Those
is it?
lights are
Where's the-
ugly.
where's it?
57 feet. It's 57
I don't
stories
see
high.
it. Where's it ugly?
It's way up on the
It's gonna
top of
be
the
ugly.
building.
I don't see nothing.
You know, it was worse when they closed the Rainbow Room. Now, that was a bar.
It wasn't really a bar.
It had the big blimp, the Rainbow Room. On
Yeah, I've
top
been to
of
the
30
Rainbow
Rock.
Room.
It had the blimp over the...
It was a dance place.
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought you were going to say, now that was a travesty, but you said, no,
No,
that was a bar.
It was a bar. Anyway, okay, moving on.
Fascinating.
I feel like I want to be up in arms over this Xfinity Wi-Fi thing. It feels wrong, and yet who is really not? Who's
harmed by this?
Who is really
And
harmed?
it's so good for the community. I think you should give these people kudos where they deserve it.
Well, I think we should wait and see whether or not it's good for the community. What if it causes cancer?
Well,
Oh, we know
that
it
could-
causes cancer.
Too
We're
late
just-
for that.
We're just okay with it. That's all.
Take the Wi-Fi out of your house.
There is a guy who comes here. He's not here today. He comes here a lot and sits out there with his laptop, and he's on our Wi-Fi, but he is trying to get Wi-Fi out of all the schools in Petaluma because it's
Good for him.
consider the children.
Think of the
Do
children.
they need Wi-Fi in
Think
school?
of the children.
They'll just be goofing around on their phones. It's a distraction.
Would you have us go back to slates?
I know that I was.
Yes, slates and no tank tops.
No tank tops.
No tank tops.
No, and yoga
Can't get rid of
pants
that
right
shit.
out.
It
Absolutely.
depends on who wears them. Now,
That
I
is
will
true.
tell you this. I
That
had
is true.
I had a repeater in my bedroom, which beamed down to the lower floors of the house.
When?
Recently,
Yeah.
it's still there, but I keep it turned off because I was having nightmares when it was on.
What were the frequencies?
Kenneth?
Ta-da. It was a gigahertz. It was 2.4 or 5 gigahertz?
It was both the 2.4 and the 5.
And it gave you nightmares? And when you turned it off, the nightmares abated?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Just saying. Just a tip for everybody out there that has a repeater near their head.
You think it really was causing nightmares? Or did Adam
You
I
should just
know.
get a
No,
tinfoil
Adam didn't
nightcap.
even know this. This is the first time I've ever revealed this to anybody. I'm being quite honest and sincere here.
And so what were the nightmares about?
I can't remember dreams very well.
But they were just, you had disturbed sleep.
Yes.
You were tossing and you were turning. And then the minute you turned it off,
Unplugged.
unplugged it,
Yeah.
it was fine.
Yeah.
You haven't had
John,
any-
you know, if you cover your head with tinfoil,
Yeah. No,
That
see, this is
probably
why I
wouldn't
don't
have
bring this
happened.
stuff up, even though it's a helpful hint for anybody out there.
Maybe you had
But no, instead I get
a guilty
ridiculed.
conscience.
I get ridiculed by the minions. It's ridiculous.
Maybe it was your years as a
Tinfoil,
war criminal.
John. Works every time.
Okay, I'm not going to. That's the end of my confessional.
No,
I'm not going to bring anything
I'm
like
not
this up
gonna-
again.
I have great PTSD meds.
Yeah,
We
bet.
should talk after.
Those things are bad for you.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter.com. God, get me out of
They're
here.
bad
Get me
for
a new
you.
job. If you would like to get...
How could you get a job that pays this much?
No, I couldn't.
You couldn't.
I'm stuck here.
You are.
And
You're
you
forced.
get just slammed with HR complaints if you did.
I would.
Yeah, that's true.
I would. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. It makes hiring faster and easier because, really, if you're hiring for your business, where are you going to post it? There are many job boards, dozens of job boards. Who knows which one's going to be the right one for you, the particular position you want to fill? Well, you don't have to worry anymore. ZipRecruiter posts to 50 different job sites, all with a single click. Also, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. They'll add your company logo. They'll add your colors to make your job pages look just like your business. It really is an extension. You can even create an instant job page on your website, include a company careers page to use as a careers link. And, of course, unlimited users in your account means you can delegate this whole problem away. Post once, watch the qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. They'll literally automatically highlight the best candidates. So you screen them, rate them, and hire the right person fast. It's a painful thing looking for employees. Make it easy, make it simple, make it fast. ZipRecruiter.com. Find out why ZipRecruiter is being used by over 100,000 businesses, including ours. ZipRecruiter.com/twit for a free 4-day trial. ZipRecruiter.com/twit. Give it a try. Watch your hiring dreams go bye-bye. Somebody said Adam Curry is banned from Twitter. He is not. We want to get him on
This idiot here
triangulation.
said John C. Dvorak has absolutely nothing to this show. Ban him now. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone over there said I was joking about PTSD, and I'd just like to say, no, I'm not. I take Prazosin for
What is it?
PTSD.
Prevacin?
Prazosin.
Prazosin?
we'll send you documentation where you should stop
Does it
immediately.
relax you?
No.
It just eliminates the... Do you have bad dreams?
I have night terrors, yeah.
And so it gets rid of those.
Cold sweat.
Yeah.
More or less.
I'm so sorry that...
Are you running maybe a Wi-Fi hotspot near your bedroom?
Oh, my God, John.
I would look into this.
Give John some of the Prevacin, and you turn off your Wi-Fi, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll do a control experiment.
Controlled
We'll do
experiment.
science.
Prevacin. Science. Speaking of science, I love this. Elon Musk has announced the company, Tesla, will open up its patent and other intellectual property to competitors. Not only will they not initiate patent lawsuits against competitors, but they, in fact, want them to use their inventions.
Uh-huh. You know
What
what
a
this
concept.
Yeah, you know what this means?
What?
It means that the whole thing is a scam. It's a sham. That means that there's no reason anybody in their right mind would give up patents worth this kind of money.
Right mind. Is Elon Musk in his right mind?
I believe Elon Musk is more than in his right mind.
What if...
The only
he's a
reason he
genius.
did this is because he knows this whole thing's a dead end.
You mean the electric
He gets
car?
$35,000 per
Well-
car, just from the government because it.
So what he's giving away, what specifically he's giving away is the patents and the technology used in the charging system, the supercharger, which involves some of the technology in the car. What he wants to do is get competitors to adopt his standard for charging, which is very different from what they're using now.
And there'll be more superchargers for Tesla.
And then there'll be
owners.
more superchargers for Tesla.
Well,
that's the
glad
benefit.
you feel
Everybody
this way.
wins. It's just like the Comcast
There's
story.
no way everybody wins, but okay. All right, next.
I want to pat the guy on the back, and you know what? If he gets a business benefit from it,
If you pat him on the back, he'll sue you.
all the more power. You don't like
So is
Elon
it
Musk?
just-
I love the guy.
I think
Is
he's
it
the
ju-
Tony Stark
I
of our
gotta
era.
ask.
He is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
All right, fangirls, quiet down. Dwight, is it just the superchargers or the batteries too? Because he's kind of killing it on the battery side, and we're hearing rumors that that's going to be Tesla's big business, in which case
He's building
he
giant
would
battery
need-
factories.
Yeah, but then who's going to build all the superchargers for those
In
electric
Texas.
batteries?
And by the way, he's moving a lot of the stuff to Texas, and we have Dwight Silverman over here defending him, who happens to be in Texas. What do you think?
You've just
a big
unraveled
Con-
everything. You blew it
Conflict
wide
of
open.
interest.
So it's in order for the superchargers to work, he's got to open up some of the patents in the batteries and the car itself. because the two interact.
So it's a win-win. I mean, John may be right that the intellectual property involved isn't worth that much, but I doubt it. I bet it is worth quite a bit. He wins because he's got superchargers, and others win because they can build. Look, it's good for Tesla to have more electric cars on the road, right?
Why?
Right.
Why?
Because it proves the concept. It proves the.
It doesn't create
promotes
any value
the notion.
for the company.
Sure, it does. Because
He
it's a
thinks
boutique.
that his competitors.
It's a
his
boutique electric
competitors
car
are
maker.
best.
So he makes something that's expensive and high end. If more people drive electric cars, it's going to be good for his business. It's not going to impinge in any way on the
Jolie,
business of his
over.
at all because he's a specialty company. I think
Waiter.
it's-
Oh, I'm such a meatball.
It's all right. Well, no, don't worry about it. We'll get a little paper towel.
It's just
By the way,
water.
they have not yet decided where the factory's going to be. It's going to $5 billion factory, and he's currently looking at Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and New Mexico.
Yeah, I already tell you, Texas.
Will Texas win?
Oh, yeah.
It
Texas
will be.
is where he's putting his spaceport down near Brownsville.
Well, that's that's where you put spaceports. There's a reason
Is it
NASA's
Brownsville?
there. There's a reason a space. What is it? SpaceX is there. There's a reason.
SpaceX. He's SpaceX.
Yeah, because well, it's just the right place.
It's a good spot.
It's a good spot. It's lots of. The Gulf of Mexico
Yeah,
is
that way
right
the
there.
things can fall in the water.
Exactly.
What's the worst that could happen?
Hit Cuba? I don't know.
That's what I
think
said.
Cuba's
What's the worst that could happen?
was near.
It's a
Destroy some
Mexican
beautiful
fishing
classic
boat. That's
automobiles.
about it.
Okay. 3 reasons why Tesla should choose Texas, according to Green Tech Media. By the way, do they allow direct?
No, this
sales
is
in
a good
Texas
point.
yet?
The guy in the chat room says Musk won't locate the battery plant in a state that banned. No, that would be a quid pro quo. He says, "Look, I'll put the battery plant in here. You got to let me sell cars because there's a lot of people in Austin, for example, that would be perfect for a Tesla. They would buy them in a minute.
The Texas
so
state
he'll do a deal.
legislature-
They'll do a deal. You watch.
The Texas state legislature said no, you cannot sell direct. You got to go through a dealer.
Yeah, but that's going to end. He's
Or
going
Tesla could make lower-end cars under another brand and create a dealership system of their own.
In that
I don't
case,
think he wants to.
he should build it in New
They have
Jersey.
kind
New
of a-
Jersey
they have
doesn't
kind of
allow
a-
direct sales either.
He probably. I'm telling you, he'll make Texas change their mind
Now,
for
what's
the
that,
jobs.
Dwight? What you saying, girl?
They have kind of a quasi dealership system here with Tesla. You can go into a showroom in Houston in the Galleria, which is the big fancy high-end mall here. You can go in there and you can look at a car. You can ask to drive one, but they're not allowed to refer to it as a test drive. It's kind of, say, I'd like to drive one. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
This is
and then
so stupid.
Salesperson says, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and they arrange for you to meet somewhere and you drive the
Is
car.
there any rationale for this aside from the fact that the car dealerships give the legislature lots of money?
No.
There's no consumer protection element. It's not just Texas. Ohio limits the number of Tesla dealerships to 3. New Jersey's fighting them. They had a sue in Massachusetts. They won there. They're suing in Minnesota. This just shows that
crazy.
car dealers give a lot of money to state legislatures.
Back in the 1940s, you used to be able to buy a car in a Sears catalog. What's the difference?
Seems like you should be able to buy a car directly. I don't really understand any rationale for
I think it's one thing for Tesla to be able to sell directly. If Ford or GM or Chrysler started saying, we're going to sell our cars directly and you don't have to worry about our dealers, that would be a whole other thing.
They kind of do with Costco.
But what's wrong? I don't
You go to
understand
Costco, you just...
Isn't that good for what do we need these dealers for?
Well, right. But I'm saying that's the argument.
There
that I
has to
think
be
the
some
dealers-
breeding
that's
ground
why
for
the dealers
douchebags.
work.
Oh,
And
we need to breed
Well, and marking up the
douchebags.
prices too.
and
middlemen make
deceptive
so much
sales
money.
practices.
And you get the practice.
What about the
Bad
undercoating
suits.
manufacturers of
bad
the world?
suits is important. And then he has to go to his manager. They have to play that game. That's fun. I'll be right back with my manager. I got to talk to my manager about this deal.
And he goes back there, waits a minute.
Yeah, it comes
Has
back.
a cigarette. Yeah.
Everybody knows they're doing that. And I don't understand why that works. Google has just spent, or is about to spend, $500 million for a company called Skybox Imaging. They make little micro satellites, tiny little satellites in geostationary orbit that currently take live video images, satellite video images. The business is not for mapping, apparently, but Skybox sells data to companies. For instance, they give as an example, they can look at the plume of a factory and determine how much production it's doing based on the size of the plume. They can look at the number of cars.
So they don't take into account anything to do with the efficiency of the burning or with the
Well, the company has that information. So the company matches. Apparently, it's further additional information. But what Google says, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I imagine what Google's looking at is using this. Well, I mean, certainly it's a good business, but using this data also maybe for its maps to have live video imagery in its maps would be kind of amazing.
Hey, you know, I was using Google Maps the other day, and I can't find the traffic button anymore. They've changed the interface on the Google Maps that I get through when I use Firefox.
Sweetie, you're going to have to help Grandpa with the computer.
No, it's so sad. Skybox
She's
says,
hilarious.
They took the button off.
Well, this is just spy technology for corporate purposes.
It is. It says we empower.
And I feel really comfortable with Google having more spy technology after the past couple years.
We empower global businesses to make better decisions with timely, high-fidelity imagery and infinite analytics.
Brother.
But Google also says we may want to be looking at this also to provide internet access to areas that can't get wired because these inexpensive satellites.
Well, isn't
Chat
Zuckerberg
room.
doing that too?
Thanks, John C. Dvorak. The new Maps is horrible.
Oh, I agree that it's horrible.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I pay attention to what's going on around me.
You don't pay any attention to what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, I use something about Google.
Well, there's more chat room activity than there is news this week. So
there's plenty of news.
No, girl.
Hey, after the last couple of weeks, we watched these shows. You need the two of us.
I don't watch. What happened?
I did.
Yeah.
What happened?
Was it a train wreck?
What?
You don't want to know.
What?
Okay.
The show, when we're on the show's lively.
And you thought it was a little dull last week? I think it was actually quite good last week. We had Christina Warren and.
I love Christina.
I know, she's super smart.
I'm the biggest fan.
And Ed
she and I
Bott,
worked
you know
together.
Ed. We worked together for years.
I used to work.
Christina is the other smart woman in technology. She's the only woman I
She's
know
brilliant.
who knows development.
Are you
stuff.
insulting all the other women in technology?
I'm just saying.
Girl,
it was a good show.
Get it together.
I don't know what show you listened to.
I didn't say anything bad.
Christina's kind of a
I wish
fashion.
I were back there right
I
now.
was looking. Well, I can imagine. I was talking about the show before that.
Did you see the fun that the Jon Stewart, The Daily Show, made of glass holes?
He was a glass troll.
I thought it was very funny. We'll take a look in just a bit.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Say it again. Jazz troll hole.
No, a jazz troll.
Glass.
If you
Traz.
troll glass holes, you're a glass troll.
Oh, glass troll.
Do you understand what a troll?
I don't know. Where's the button on Skype?
It's where the button on Maps is. Same place.
The Skype button on Maps.
I'll show you. I'll get a map up and show you
you.
what I'm talking about.
Let me cue up that video, and we'll show that in just a second. But first, I want to show you how good Twit was last week and all the other shows we did with this look.
Wait. Stop.
It's called a house ad. Yes, thank you, John.
Previously on Twit. Windows Weekly.
Microsoft has spent the past year capitulating to the complainers, culminating in the release on Monday of the Xbox One without Kinect. Even I say this, it's hard not to laugh. Like, Microsoft is actively soliciting the feedback of its fans and users to guide the direction of this product going forward.
This week in Enterprise Tech.
Netflix has been adding a piece of text to their buffering screen that lays the blame for congested networks at the feet of those networks.
The Social Hour.
I think value in a post comes from providing information or analysis or assistance or entertainment. So it's one of those four things coupled with a great graphic, and that's the gist of great social media.
Triangulation.
We've written an article on celebrating your washing machine. And that's a perfect example of something we just normally just completely take for granted.
It sounds ridiculous, but of course, if you did go around with dirty and stained clothes all the time, people do, in a sense, don't want you around them. That's what culture is. I think the urban world that we've created is every bit as marvelous as a tropical jungle.
Twit. Making the world safe for technology.
Your connection was horrible, and then suddenly it's so good that you don't leave. I'm like a really bad penny or like a really bad zit when you're 12. That's who I am. Enjoy that.
Do anybody have Verizon internet access? If you do, have you seen the error message that Netflix puts up when the traffic is congested. The Verizon network is crowded right now, adjusting video for smoother playback. Netflix, I think very cleverly, has decided to let you know if it's your ISP that sucks, not Netflix, because people blame Netflix.
Yeah, it's not just Verizon customers seeing that. It's any ISP, but Verizon's the one that's complained about it.
Verizon sent a cease and desist letter saying, we're going to sue you because how can you possibly know it's us? Netflix says, well, we know it's you because we can see it's you. The congestion is at the interconnect, and Verizon customers are all getting very poor speeds, whereas other customers of other ISPs aren't. Netflix has pulled it down for the time. Well, I think we all are, but Netflix has pulled it down for the time being. But now the FCC's decided to get involved. Tom Wheeler, who, of course, I trust to make a judicious and fair decision involving cable companies.
Just let the government in. Great idea.
He says the bottom line is that consumers need to understand what is occurring when the internet service they've paid for does not adequately deliver the content they desire, especially content they've also paid for. That's the right sounds. Those are the right sounds.
Well, he is a politician.
Yeah, but he's also a cable company and a wireless company lobbyist. We'll see what the FCC does on this. I think I completely sympathize with Netflix. People assume, oh, there's something wrong with Netflix, not there's something wrong with my ISP. Right? Don't you? When you get a bad...
No.
You even said that. You just said everybody's getting bad Netflix. It's not true.
No, it's because all the wireless providers are poo-poo.
Well, but this is not wireless. This is on your home internet.
Everyone is poo and getting you internet
She's used the word poo 3 times now.
Poo and poo.
Well, there's another 3.
Triple poo.
Some do better than others, and what I am convinced is that the big 5 broadband providers in the United States are intentionally not upgrading their interconnects with Netflix until Netflix gives them money. Comcast,
I talked to Dane about this.
Did you talk to Dane Jasper, SonicNet? What did he say?
He says it's not a big issue because everybody uses the Netflix appliance.
No, everybody doesn't.
He's got 6 of them.
I agree with you, and that's what Comcast refuses to do, and Verizon
That's because
refuses to do.
These things cost a lot of money to run, and Comcast, I think, would probably need 1,000 of them. He's got 6. And he also uses the
Netflix,
GGC.
This is Netflix Open Connect plan,
It's a box.
Which puts the Netflix content directly in this operations center for the internet service provider, eliminates these over the internet bandwidth.
In a box.
Yeah.
You get a box.
With all the movies.
It's got 100
movie.
terabytes in the box.
Yep.
It's loaded with the movies, most of the movies, not all of them, obviously.
Not all of them, no.
And it saves you one leg of the transfer.
Right.
So it's faster for the customers. Comcast, my thinking on this whole thing is Comcast decided because these things do cost money to operate, they don't cost anything to own. They said, screw this. This is going to cost us thousands of dollars to run this crap.
You give us money, we don't give you money.
Right.
Let's get this straight.
Right.
In this business, you pay us. We don't pay you.
Exactly.
Verizon, Netflix says Verizon decided it's as if there were a bridge. And Verizon decided to leave 3 lanes closed.
Not just lanes, freeway. These analogies I find them annoying.
I think Governor Christie is running the Verizon data centers. What's going on?
It's the Chris Christie excuse.
Yeah. He says Netflix is trying to shift blame for performance issues arising from interconnection congestion is like blaming drivers on a bridge for traffic jams when you're the one who decided to leave 3 lanes closed during rush hour. I think that's actually a pretty good description. But we'll find out what the FCC does about it.
Yeah, they're going to get in. Next thing you know, we're going to have regulated internet. You're going to have a podcasting license that will be renewable every year.
God, I hope not.
Oh, yeah.
That would be bad. Then we couldn't swear. We couldn't say poo-poo.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I remember doing radio and getting your license revoked from time to time.
Did you get your radio license revoked?
Yeah, because we were broadcasting on someone else's frequency.
Second-class phone, first-class phone, third-class phone?
We had to get the message out. It was college radio, punk rock, and
college radio.
Way off topic right now.
So did they take they took your license?
Yeah, for a few years it was revoked.
Wow.
Yeah.
What station was this?
I don't remember.
What college?
She
Shenandoah
has
University.
no recollection.
In Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Nova.
Oh, no, let's don't get started on this again.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to apologize because Eugene Gustman the 13-year-old chatbot who reportedly passed the Turing test on the 60th anniversary of Turing's death didn't.
Didn't pass or wasn't a chatbot?
He was a chatbot. He wasn't a supercomputer, as some reported. He was just a chatbot.
There's very poor reporting on this, by the way.
Yeah,
Terrible.
and I fell for it.
A lot of
you
people
fell
who,
for it.
One of our freelancers fell for it. Not proud of that.
I should have known better. I thought it was cute because the way they got around this is they said he's a 13-year-old Ukrainian, doesn't speak English very well. And did somebody just take my picture?
Yeah.
Oh boy. And so was that you?
That was me. I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Taking a screenshot to see.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got it. That's good.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Ray Kurzweil, who of course works at Google, is one of the most well-known artificial intelligence researchers in the world.
Love Ray.
Noted that he has a long-term wager with Mitch Kapor, the creator of Lotus 123, in which he predicted, Kurzweil, that a computer program will pass the Turing test by 2029. Kapor said won't.
I agree with Kapor.
It's a $20,000 bet to be donated to charity. One of the first long-term wagers on the Long Now site. So a lot of people congratulated him for winning the bet. He said, "Yeah, I would love to claim the 20 grand for my charity, but this is premature. I'm disappointed that Professor Warwick, the artificial intelligence researcher who declared it a victory. But a victory because 1/3 of the judges, by the way, included Bobby Llewellyn Crichton from the show Red Dwarf, a friend of the network. We love Bobby. 1/3 of the time they couldn't tell it was a computer.
If the guy says hello, that's one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He mustn't be a real person.
One of the points, and by the way, the artificial intelligence researchers we've talked to recently have all said the Turing test is stupid. It's antiquated. It's not a way to test intelligence. But Kurzweil says Turing was carefully imprecise in setting the rules for his test, and in fact, in 2002, I negotiated the rules during this wager with Mitch Kapor. He said simply defining machine and human, for example, is not a straightforward matter. That's the fundamental basis of the Turing test is to an artificial intelligence that's indistinguishable. The judges can't tell, is it human or is it computer?
What did Jolie just drink? She made the most
energy drink. Do you want the show to be interesting or not?
She made the most outrageous face ever.
It's disgusting.
Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is, okay, I think you're beating it to death.
Okay. Anyway, I apologize. The test wasn't a good test.
They suckered a lot of journalists, which tells you something.
13-year-old kid,
Journalists are all
Ukrainian
hacks.
kid is not appropriate. The interactions were limited to 5 minutes each. Easy to fool
There's a
naive
question about
judges.
Warwick too, isn't it?
Yeah, I
question
agree.
about Warwick and his veracity and he's been involved in a lot of other questionable stories.
Yeah, there was a good article about him. Apparently, he's we have him here in the States too. One of these journalists who loves to whip up a frenzy over kind of spurious technical information. So I and many others fell for it. I merely referred to it because I thought it was funny. Kurzweil had his own conversation with the chatbot, and he said, "I am unimpressed." He said, "How old are you?" Eugene said, "I'm a little boy, 13 years old." "How much is 2 + 2? Eugene said, "Now I'm sure you're one of those crappy robots from the Great Robots Cabal." Okay, immediately, that's like, what?
That's
okay,
a fail.
No,
This is worse
red
than
flag.
Eliza.
That's
red
a fail.
flag. No 13-year-old would say, "I'm a little boy."
That's right. She's right.
Yeah. "And I know your password, 2 + 2 = 4.0. Now divide by 0 and die." Question 2, if I have 2 marbles in a bowl and I add 2 more, how many marbles are in the bowl now? "Not too many, but I can't tell you the exact number. I forgot it. If I'm not mistaken, you still didn't tell me whether you live or it's a secret."
Is that a
Smiley
winky face? Okay,
Yes.
emoticons now make you human.
"I live in the capital of the United States. Do you know where that is?" Every nerd knows that the capital of the United States is Washington. I got one right. "I live in the capital of the country that put a man on the moon." Well, if you want it, the capital of the United States is Washington.
Again,
"I live in
another
the
red
capital
flag.
of a country that built the Great Wall." Tell me more about capital. That's where you know you got to.
I mean, come on. This thing is
I
fail
liked- yeah.
early on.
Fa-
How anybody could fall for this? They're the ones that would probably get suckered into a chat room bot.
It's
Yeah,
dunked
the
in
first
What are
thing
you
a
wearing?
13-year-old is going to say is,
Yeah.
"ASL, what are you wearing?"
So I apologize. Yeah, there you go. Now you could program a bot that would be good.
My bot
It
would be
work.
bad.
It would be bad. It'd be so good it'd be bad.
Yeah.
I think what you sipped on was kale.
No.
5-hour energy.
What do you think of kale?
I had some this afternoon for lunch in an egg scramble.
Wow.
Eat a lot of kale at my house. We're going to be young forever. Not a fan?
Black kale's okay.
So you heard about the FOIA request, the Freedom of Information request from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, asking the NSA for information about the data it gathers on online activity. The NSA argued that holding on to the data is just too burdensome. A requirement to preserve all data required under Section 702 is a significant operational problem. Only one of which is that the NSA may have to shut down all systems and databases that contain 702 information. So the complexity of the NSA systems meant preservation efforts might not work and would have an immediate, specific, and harmful impact on national security. So we don't have to give you that information. However, that request is still going forward. Let's see.
The request or the response?
I'm not going to play the Daily Show thing. Watch it yourself. I thought it was quite good. They mock Google Glass mercilessly. In particular, 6 Glass explorers who many of whom had been discriminated against for Glass getting beaten up in bars.
It's not discrimination if you're
stolen.
insufferable and people don't like you.
It's not discrimination.
That's just personal choice.
And that is kind of the point.
It's personal choice to beat up the glass holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Whenever Jolie and JCD are on the show, Leo sighs a lot.
I can't keep it on track. It's like a runaway train.
Oh.
Do we want to sing the song?
What's that?
Runaway Train?
Go ahead.
No.
Freight train, going so fast. That one?
No, that's not it. Next.
We could do Crazy Train.
Yes, I'm riding.
I think we.
Running off the rails on a crazy train. We are way off the rails.
We are.
Can we get back to talking about...
Google's book scanning effort can move ahead without the author's okay. Now, you're an author.
Yes.
Are you in the Authors Guild?
No.
All right. They have been fighting this, of course.
I, too, am an author. Hello.
Yeah, are you in the Authors Guild?
I have published 3, 4, 5 books.
Wow.
Yes.
She's plugged most of them on the show.
Yeah.
Well, you don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm an author, but I have not in the Authors Guild.
And I am an author, and I am not in the Authors Guild. So you have 4
And they can
authors.
scan my books all they want. I don't care.
Second U.S. Court of Appeals rules in a case brought by the Authors Guild and other writers' groups that universities who are working with Google to scan millions of library books without authors' permission are not breaching federal copyright law. It's fair use.
No, that is not fair. It's not fair to scan. I mean, they're scanning the entire books, right?
Yep.
It ain't right.
Why not?
Well, here's the problem with what Jolie just said. We have heard from day one, I think it began in the 1970s, all the world's libraries will be scanned and computerized so we can find anything we want anytime we want it. And it's going to be the world's greatest thing. The libraries, meanwhile, and the governments, and nobody cared to do any of this until Google came along. And so now
Google, and we should point out Microsoft did have
Microsoft did too. And actually, they did a better job than Google, to be honest about it. Because they had all kinds of search engines and stuff that worked better.
They stopped doing it.
They stopped for who knows what reason. So they start doing this, computerizing all the world's books like it was promised to all those technologists, and now everybody's complaining about it, including Jolie over here.
So here's what the court said.
Well,
I'd like to run it by you, Jolie. See what you think of this.
Okay.
This is what the court said.
Okay.
It's in order to perform full text search of the books, you got to scan them all in, right?
Yeah.
This service, HDL, does not allow users to view any portion of the books they're searching. Consequently, it does not add into circulation any new human-readable copies of the books. It simply permits search, and then it would tell you what page number. Are you okay with that? Because it's not putting a copy out there. Now, Google, it's my belief that Google intends to give you full copies of these books.
If you have access to any part of the book that you want, you might as well just have the book.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
people like to read a book.
Why don't people just read the books?
Yeah, that's
what's wrong with books? Why does Google have to scan the books?
Because then we can search them, then we can have them, we
search
can
them,
distribute
we can
them,
do
we
all
can have
kinds of cool
infinite
stuff.
copies, we can transmit them at
But you're
light
saying
speed
we
all
can't
over the
have
world.
Here's what
infinite
bothers
copies.
me.
Well, I think Google eventually does want to have, frankly,
Well,
have
my
full
problem is Google.
readable. But
'Cause
maybe
they
of
are
non-copyrightable stuff.
Google wants to end up owning these books in some funny way. I think you should notice something interesting.
What is
we
that?
should get Corey on. He's the one who.
Oh, yeah.
He is the guy, Corey Doctorow, and I told him this one. I said, whatever you say,
I will go with.
yeah.
Let's
as far as
call
I'm
him
concerned,
up.
whatever Corey says, I
agree with you.
Right, because he's the guy who's nuts about this.
Yes.
And he says that if once they scan these books in, and if it's a public domain book that they scanned in and they claim ownership, it's bull crap. Public domain books are public domain books no matter who scans them in or whoever publishes them again. And that's just the way it is. And Google tries to trick people. They say, oh, we scanned this in, so it's our property. They got Google's copyright all over these public domain books.
So here's what
this is
Corey
cheesy.
said. Now, it was a few years ago. He says publishers should send fruit baskets to Google. He said Google's new book search promises to save writers and publishers asses by putting their books into the index of works that are visible to searchers who get their information from the internet. This is in response to this, this was in 2006, but the lawsuit had begun then, suing Google, claiming this ass saving is in fact copyright violation. When you look a little closer, though, you see the writer-publisher objections to Google's scan amount to nothing more than rent-seeking, an attempt to use legal threats to milk Google for some of the money it will make by providing this vital service to us ink-stained scribblers.
Oh,
Corey likes it.
Good for him.
You know, no.
So it's okay.
As an
I'm for
author, the first time I saw one of my books scanned by Google Books, I was appalled. It
Really?
was a limited edition kind of book, and I was very sad to see that people would be accessing it who didn't know me, who never paid me. It took so much to produce this book. It was a book of poetry.
But it was
really good.
But it was already out of print. It was already, you already extended this
I
life
could
to the
have
max.
done a second edition.
But okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Nothing to stop
Yet.
you. And I would guess that most people who like the poetry may have even discovered it by the Google search would end up buying a second edition. Perhaps it gave new life to this book.
It didn't.
Also, Jolie, when you
Yeah.
found it, when you scanned it, what did you see? What exactly were you?
Well-
What was the result you got?
There was a table of contents and then most of the book. I think all of the book. Whatever. I mean, this is one person's experience.
Well, now we can go look at Jolie's poems. We wouldn't have even known about this book if it wasn't for Google.
It's award-winning
I think it
poetry,
ultimately,
man.
particularly if for authors whose books are still current, it'll ultimately sell books, because if you're doing a search for something, you want to find the information. All it shows you is the page and the result. And if you want more of the book, you go buy the book. I suspect they may even have a link to it that will allow you to buy it, perhaps from their
I have done
bookstore.
this. I have done
here's
this
the book.
exact thing that he described.
Monkey by
You see
Regina
this book?
Alexandra. Yes.
Right. So this is a book where I acquired the author, not the person, but the publishing rights for this. And I did painstaking work with a crew of people, editors and designers,
And it's
et cetera.
all online. You can read it.
It's
In fact,
all
you could even print it
online.
out if you wanted
You could
to.
totally print it out.
Yeah.
And to me, this cheapens the
That's stealing it.
experience.
And it's still in copyright, obviously,
Yeah, totally.
because you're younger than 80.
And this author is a young woman who's trying to make her way in New York and break out as a poet. And I don't think this helps her at all.
Do you think it helps with discovery that people might find her that would otherwise not have found her? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
No. The publisher's marketing efforts help more than being on Google
Right.
Books.
Well, that's a good point.
So-
Well, I can't argue against it because it looks like the whole book is there.
It
Yeah.
does. I'm seeing the title page all the way down.
It's a beautifully done book.
Yeah. You would probably want the print edition, but I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
that
look at that
lets
crazy design.
Google off the
I hate
hook
that.
because they have, in fact, put the whole book online. Well, let's go back and talk to the judge. You want to?
I don't care anymore.
Why don't you?
I think we've talked it out, man.
Our show today brought to you, speaking of books, by Audible.com. Every author on Audible.com gets a fine royalty when you listen to their book. In many cases, the same exact royalty they'd get if you bought the book. And you will get the same exact experience as if you read the book, except it won't be coming through your eyeballs. It'll be coming through your ear holes.
Huh.
I am an Audible fan because there's so many times as I travel around in my car or work out at the gym that I can't hold a book, but I would love to listen to a book. In fact, if it weren't for Audible, I don't know if I'd still be reading as much as I read. I read many books now, and all of them on audiobook from Audible. Visit audible.com, browse around. You'll see 150,000 titles, Fiction, this is the new one that I really want to get. The Art of Fermentation. This is the classic. John should be here. He's a vinegar maker. The classic on fermentation, which is one of the most important food processes. Everything from making bread to making beer to making kimchi to making kombucha.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. I know. Ugh.
Ugh.
Maybe you'd like classics like The Wind in the Willows, a great book for your kids. I love The Wind in the Willows. And Shelley Fraser reads it. This, like many books on Amazon.com, is Whisper Sync ready. That means when you buy the audiobook, you get a reduced price version of the Kindle book. And now on the Kindle app on iPhone and Android, as well as on Kindles themselves, as you listen to the book, it will follow along. When you leave off listening, you can pick up the book and read it, or vice versa. So you're reading the book at home, and then you decide to get in the car. It picks up the audio exactly the same point you left off in the text version of the book. I think that's really cool. I want you to try audible.com. Oh, look, a list of the best of the year so far. So many. The new Stephen King, Mr. Mercedes, is on there. Flash Boys. I just read that fascinating book by Michael Lewis about high-frequency traders. Think Like a Freak, the latest from the Freakonomics guys. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Michael C. Hall narrates that. Now, that would be awesome. I would love to hear that. The best readers, the best books, all the big bestsellers, as well as many classics. There's Adam Carolla's newest and Hillary Clinton's newest. All the classics are available, too. Science fiction is fabulous. In fact, Audible, knowing that so many science fiction books had never been put on audio, created their own Audible Frontiers program to digitize audiobooks. The new Mark Russinovich is out, Rogue Code. Here's the deal. You're going to get 2 books free some way, one way or the other. The trick is picking the 2 books. You can see I've found quite a few for you. Why don't you go to audible.com/twit2. That's audible.com/twit and the number 2, one word, and sign up for the Platinum account. You pay nothing for the first 30 days. You're going to get 2 credits. That means as many as 2 books. Almost all books, about 99.5% of all the books on audible.com are a single credit. So 2 books in most cases. Really, really long books, it might be just one. The new Neil Gaiman, Fortunately the Milk. A hilarious story of time travel and breakfast cereal.
Yeah, when I think of Neil Gaiman, I think hilarious.
Actually, I think he's funny. I think American Gods was
very
funny.
Yeah.
Neverwhere it's dark, it's scary, but there's a kind of a light, funny sense of humor. I thought American Gods was hysterical.
You know what's funny is Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Now, do they have that narrated by someone who's like off their rocker?
I don't think they do.
Narrated by people off their rockers, the way to go.
I don't think they have Johnny. No, I'm afraid they don't have Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. But you might want to read the new Diana Gabaldon, just came out, Outlander Book 8. Let me tell you, when you get to my age and your eyes are tired, you will welcome the idea that somebody reads to you again.
It's great when you're riding in a car.
At the gym, on the treadmill. I can't read. I'm bouncing up and down, I listen to audiobooks, audible.com/twit2. Pick 2 books. Enjoy them. Cancel anytime in the first 30 days. You'll owe nothing. I just interviewed this guy on Triangulation.
The audiobook of Confessions of an Economic Hitman is great.
Yes, it is. That's how I listened to it. You recommended the book, and I listened to it. This guy, James Barrett, I just interviewed him. They've got his book on audio. Our Final Invention, Artificial Intelligence and the End of the Human Era.
You're damn right.
It's actually great. He says, we got to prepare because any day now the machines are going to take over. Audible.com.
This is why we're punching glass holes.
Yes, because they are the machines. They're
the beginning of the end.
They're the beginning of the end. Ooh. I didn't mention the good news on the Freedom of Information Act and the from the NSA.
We're running our own FOIA requests right now, and we're going to have some big scoops once
that's
those
a great
back.
idea. Every journalistic organization should.
At least
should do
once
that.
in your life, you should file a FOIA request
and
just get a little thrill.
How hard is it?
I don't know. I
got
made
somebody
someone
doing
else
that for you?
Yeah, I'm managing. So I just barely know
think
about it.
it's just a form. You fill it out.
Yeah.
Is it online? Can you do it online?
Probably not.
You know
Probably
what?
have to go down to the courthouse.
There's no court involved.
I think there's
a mail it
There's
in.
a FOIA.org.
FOIA.gov, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
FOIA.gov.
Yeah.
Now that's for federal.
How do I
but
make
I think
there's a video on how
Judge
to make a FOIA
Lucy
request.
Code, does that name ring a bell?
Love her.
She's the judge, of course, who's was ruling on the Samsung Apple case. She told the Department of Justice to hand over the FISA court rulings that justify the bulk collection of records under the Patriot Act.
Okay.
This is, of course, the very controversial technique that NSA has been using to collect phone and other records on all communications in the U.S. The FISA court has broadly interpreted the law in secret. The law says itself is limited to the FBI and is only supposed to be about records related to terrorism. FISA court says, well, you're like the FBI. You're the NSA, and everything is related to terrorism.
Yeah.
So go ahead and collect all that data.
Including
The
this
EFF
show.
filed a lawsuit after their FOIA request was denied. They wanted 5 specific FISA court interpretations. Judge Koh says you got to release those, but they have to read them in chambers. They can't take them out of the chambers, but that's fair.
I have to make one note.
Yes.
Twerd in the chat room called me a see you next Tuesday.
Well, that's not nice, and I'm sure he was banned
Oh, he
immediately.
has no idea.
Well, I don't even know what that means.
I wouldn't bring it up, but he was banned immediately.
See you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday.
Well, you're here now, so let's just do it today.
Bye.
If you pay attention to the chat room,
That's terrible.
you'll get up with fleas.
Ooh, he got it.
It took me a while.
I really went through those. You could see the little gray cells.
Well, I'm thinking of, never mind.
Gene Gustman would have gotten that right away.
I would have gotten it right away.
Right away.
For some reason, I didn't think it was going to be. I wasn't going in the
You weren't
direction
going there.
of just horrid insults.
That's the true Turing test.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't like the Jolie and Dvorak show.
They can't
Hey,
take the
so
heat.
so Leo, can we
Get
talk
out the
about this?
kitchen.
Would you please?
This,
Yes, let's.
This AT&T story where AT&T says that Uverse is a failure.
Yeah, well, this is their justification
What?
for merging with DirecTV. Did they say specifically Uverse was a failure?
What they said is that it's uneconomic and has been unable to compete.
But the good news is, if
So they're
you
losing
allow
money.
us,
Is that what they're saying?
yeah, if you allow us to spend $48.5 billion to buy DirecTV, there will be, quote, there will be significant downward pressure on the prices of the new integrated bundles of AT&T broadband and direct video, and that will force the competitors, cable companies, to lower their prices, and we all win.
So was it
win.
DirecTV
I love
that AT&T had a deal with before Uverse? They had a deal with it was either Dish or DirecTV, and they were reselling that service.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time with Dish, I think.
Right, it was Dish. So, and they quit doing that when they did Uverse.
Right.
But I know that at least here in Houston, they're very competitive with Comcast in terms of what they offer, and they're very competitive in terms of marketing it here.
Same in the Bay
I was very
Area.
surprised to see that. Yeah.
So this is a filing with the SEC. So I'm thinking they can't really lie to the FCC about this.
Why?
Oh, come on.
What?
The SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. You can't lie.
Oh,
to them. Not the FCC,
Right,
the
no,
SEC.
The SEC's rough.
These guys have enforcement capability. They can throw you in jail.
Yeah, they got guns.
The rationale for this transaction: a fundamental shift in the way consumers obtain broadband and video services. Most consumers do it in a bundle. And we can't compete, Uverse notwithstanding,
They
against
can't over their fiber.
Comcast and others. Well, Uverse isn't always fiber. A lot of times it's DSL. Almost always it's DSL.
It is DSL, and they're doing
more fiber.
They're in the process of expanding it to try to be competitive with speed with the cable providers. Right now, I think the fastest you can go in most markets is about 24 megabits. They're expanding it in some places. Houston's one of them where you can go up to 50. But Comcast goes to 105 here, and there are 300 megabit services around the country.
Yeah.
You can't compete at that with. But I
Not
don't
only
quite
that,
see
Uverse
how
was sharing
this makes-
internet bandwidth, so when you watch TV, your internet slowed down, which wasn't a good solution either.
Well, how's that different from Comcast?
No, TV doesn't impact your internet. You got no. That's
Well,
not.
what were you saying?
On Uverse, if you watch TV, it interfects your internet.
Okay.
On Comcast, it does not.
Ah.
Because
but if it's on fiber, it doesn't either.
On fiber, there's plenty of bandwidth, so
Unless,
it doesn't.
God forbid, you use something like
The way
an Apple
cable
TV.
works is a little different because the data is coming in on a television, in effect, a 6 megahertz channel.
Right.
So it doesn't impact that, but it does on UVerse because it's all data. And
but then again,
on
the
Fios,
most of the movement though is to change that channel to an internet channel, so it's coming in.
Right. By the way,
whatever the case is, this is a bogus
They
thing,
promise
let's face it.
if you let us do this, we'll offer 6 megabit broadband service for $35 a month.
What a lie.
For 3 years.
That's no bargain.
That is a bargain. I'll buy it. I'll take it.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a bargain.
It's like a scam.
6 megabits is the minimum you can really do for video streaming. That's
know what, to me is
but
interesting.
For $35 is cheap.
It seems to me that this is the beginning of a larger argument that DSL itself can't compete against fiber and cable. I mean, DSL is very limited in the speed, and it's very limited in distance from the central office. I mean, if you're going to make that argument, you're almost making the argument we can't compete against cable with DSL either, right?
And satellite internet is not great.
Even
either.
worse.
So
yeah.
Right. So this is strictly. It's kind of. I'm not quite sure how internet plays into this in terms of Dish, because Dish really doesn't offer anything that's competitive in terms of internet.
But they can offer a bundle is the real.
Right.
This,
right. One of the things that Dish gives them, it gives them more buying power, where they can go to content providers and say, look, we've got X number of eyeballs now that we have both of these, and they can strike the same kind of deals that the big cable providers do.
What is the fastest DSL can go? Somebody's got 40 megas on.
Well, you can, ADSL2, and then these are they do bonded. You can get faster. You can get 50 megabits, but you have to be pretty close to the central office. You have to have more modern technology, which a lot of these guys
that costs money.
Speaking of more modern technology, instead of worrying about your business being able to compete, just invest in better technology, faster access for everybody.
The real problem with DSL is, it's just the fundamental technology is.
How old is it?
It's pretty old.
Yeah, so move on.
And it's slow. Well, but okay, here's the real fundamental issue.
Tell me.
Phone companies have 2 little copper wires, twisted pair, coming into your house. The cable company has this big fat coax coming into your house. And no matter what you do, you're going to be limited by distance and by the amount of bandwidth you can get over those
until we get those
wires.
mesh networks going. The other question that I have, I think someone in the chat room brought it up, is when does internet become more like a basic public utility than something that's controlled by massive corporations, like a universal right?
That's the debate, and that's what John hates about.
Yeah, because it's not a right.
Because it would take to bring the government in, and next thing you know, Leo's got to apply for his $500 a year podcasting license.
I'll take it if that keeps the internet free and open.
But that's the opposite of free and open, isn't it?
Well, that is the debate, was whether the FCC should consider broadband providers telecommunications companies and whether they're utilities.
The utility thing is a disaster.
I think it might be a disaster. I have to say this is a bit of a conundrum.
And, of course, it brings up the point I used to argue with you years ago.
Which I'm still right about.
They'd be paying by the bit, because utilities, generally speaking, you pay by the kilowatt hour or by the cubic feet of water.
That's because you're generating.
You'll be paying by the bit.
But the bits aren't being generated. They just flow. They flow.
So does water, generally.
No, but water has to come from somewhere. Those bits just flow.
It comes from a big lake that's coming from the sky. It's free. It's
so
free. It's from the sky.
Your point is that there's no artificial constraint. Well, there are only artificial constraints.
They're all artificial.
And so it would be the same with water. It's an artificial constraint because it comes from the sky.
Well, then why do we have droughts?
It's all free.
You're being facetious.
No.
Yes.
I am
very
not.
serious.
I am dead serious on this.
For years,
why do we have
what you're paying for with water is you're paying for the distribution to your house.
Same thing with the internet. Hello.
Yes, you're paying for distribution. And so
what's the difference?
At what point does it become a necessity? Water's a necessity for life. In the modern age, is the
you
internet
can live
a necessity?
without internet. I have my best weekends when I have no internet.
You're an exception to the rule.
John wants us to.
Everyone can live without
let me
the internet.
clarify this. You want us to
breathe. You can move.
Pay for the amount of internet we use.
I don't like
How do
any
you
of these
measure
ideas.
The internet you use.
I'm just saying this is your future. This is your future. I'm describing the future.
But so is that a good plan though? If I say, hey, I used 50 gigabytes this month, and it's $10 a gigabyte, I owe you $500.
So it wouldn't be that high.
Well, it's cheaper. Okay,
It'd be like
50 cents.
It'd be like $1 a gigabyte.
Yeah. Okay, $1. I owe you $50.
It
I
would be
think
less than that. 50
I would
cents.
do that. I think that.
How
would
about
do
10
that.
cents a gigabyte?
Sounds good to
Well,
me.
that
That's what we
doesn't
pay.
quite
By the
make
way,
sense.
that's what we pay CashFly. That's what a CDN costs.
A CDN is 5 cents a gigabyte.
5 to 10 cents a gigabyte.
There you go. You got the price, exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And anyone could afford that. What is you're got some skepticism about this? She's got that look.
She doesn't like technology.
No, she gets a look.
No,
on
I
it.
just
She
think
wishes
that
she were
for
living in the
some
19th
people-
century.
That's true.
For some people, internet access is the difference between finding housing and not finding housing, finding work and not finding
Right,
work. And
participating in elections.
charging by
You can get by without the elections.
But you can't learn as much. You
having
can't become an informed
You
electorate.
go to the library.
Have you been to the
In the
library
21st
lately?
century-
Most of the libraries are fantastic. Have
There's
you been
no
there?
library.
Oh, I love the library.
Our library has 50 books and 50 terminals.
You got a crap library. Go to a good library.
Yeah, really, man.
My
you
Albany
can rent
library's
those PBS
packed.
videotapes.
And you can rent a
Yeah.
yes.
We can watch Roots.
You can rent
Or Ken
right. You can
Burns.
get all those things for free.
Yeah.
I don't know
In-
why
in-
you're so
in the
anti-library all of a
I
sudden.
love the library.
You
You
just
love the
said
treadmill.
you hate
We
the
have a
library.
free, but that's because we have a terrible library.
Well, why don't you make a fuss?
I think a library is a good thing.
I think you should say something.
State's broke.
The state's not so broke that you can't have a good library. It's a county generally funded thing.
Oh, it's not the state?
No,
We could always hold a fundraiser.
We have a crappy county.
you do.
We do have a Carnegie Free Library down the street,
Use that.
but they've turned it into a museum.
Well, that's no good. You're just making my point for me.
What is your point?
I've lost it. I don't remember.
Our show today
I got a clue.
brought to you by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you can get your entire financial life on one page on your computer, your laptop, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android device. See where all your stuff is. Why do you want that? Well, not merely to keep track of your stuff, but so that you can make intelligent decisions to take care of your financial life going forward. If you're a young person like Jolie, and I hope you and Aaron are doing this, I hope you're putting money aside because someday you're going to be old like me and John, and you're going to want to be able to do something besides eat Alpo and go watch the free library shows.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that.
Is this your version of ad-libbing?
Yes, that's my version.
Go back to the script.
With Personal Capital, you can figure out what your money's invested in, what you're spending money on, how much you're paying for your investments. If you're paying somebody to manage it, is it too much money? Are you getting good advice? You can get good advice at personalcapital.com. Asset allocation advice. You can get an investment checkup. And this is all free. It takes just minutes to sign up. It is an amazing service. Personalcapital.com/twit. They've got a mutual fund fee calculator, a 401k planner. So you can figure out, as you're younger, your investments change. You've got to rebalance them over time. All of this is there. Personalcapital.com. Unbiased financial advice. They are not selling stocks. They are not making money on stocks. They're not taking a commission. This is good advice from certified financial planners, smart people. Personalcapital.com.
And I would say open an
/twit.
account and do that kind of thing as early as possible.
The sooner you start, the
if
better.
I had started doing this when I was
know.
21 instead of 27, I'd be retired by now. I wouldn't be here.
Well, it's true.
No,
If-
I would. I'd still come and visit you
Good.
in my
You
retirement.
can retire and just visit us. I wish you would, actually.
Oh, I shall.
Okay. That's absolutely true. The sooner you start putting it away,
The sooner you can stop
the
working.
more you make
And
because
who
it's
wants
over a
to
lifetime.
work?
Right.
Yeah.
Personalcapital.com.
Everybody wants to work.
Not me. I can handle a lot of nothing. Let's talk about the show.
Yes.
All right, I'm
Those
really
things.
curious about this. If you go to Amazon, I guess they took the invitation down.
What
but for a long time on the front page of Amazon.com, they had an invitation to their event, which is coming up Wednesday,
Yes.
to see some. Are you going to go to that up to Seattle? Did you get an invitation?
No, we're sending somebody who
So somebody did get-
specializes in gadget stuff.
It's going to be a phone.
Our gadget guy.
It looks like it's a phone, right?
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
We heard rumors months
saw
ago
the video.
that Amazon was going to offer a 3D phone,
Right.
which is bizarre.
Hopefully it's not that big.
People who got invitations got this children's book. Did your reporter get a children's book from Jeff?
I don't know.
The 40th anniversary edition of Mr. Pine's Purple House.
I wonder why. It's probably going to be a purple phone.
He says, I think you'll agree, this is the only clue. Encloses my favorite childhood book. I think you'll agree the world is a better place when things are a little bit different.
Yeah, the 3D phone. That'll be very different. And a purple 3D phone. By the way, I was told by a house painter that if somebody paints their house purple, they're clinically insane.
Or lesbian. Hello.
Well, that's a possibility.
In my
they live in
neighborhood.
Miami.
Could be a both.
Or they live
Yeah,
in
we just thought I'd
Miami.
throw that in.
So this is the video that they put on the front page of the Amazon website. They don't show this product, although
But clearly it's a handheld.
there's a reflection in the glasses of somebody later on. They look like they're looking at their crotch, frankly, and they're
Each
pivoting.
other's,
let's
maybe.
pretend they are.
Each other's.
Yeah.
This guy's looking at his own.
Yeah.
She's looking at his.
She's going, wow, that's
Yeah.
big.
And she
Yeah,
is
she's
too.
twisting right. You know, there was a 3D phone already. Sprint, the
Oh, wait.
HTC Evo 3D was a 3D phone.
That
see
took
how
3D
they're
pictures, and
tilting it
then there was an
around?
Atrix, wasn't there, that had 3D, lenticular 3D,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
no good.
incredibly stupid. Why would you
no.
want a phone that makes you do this?
No, that's no good. You need that new.
Well, that's
that
what they're all doing in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're looking to see how 3D-ish it is. So
Yeah.
you go back and forth. And
They're
You know
trying
what? I used to do that when I was playing Super Mario.
Same
Lean
thing.
For the motion.
So
it's just
what-
a human thing.
What do we know? We don't know anything. What do we think? The rumors were a 3D phone. Why would Amazon be doing a phone? B, what would make this compelling if you're getting it from Amazon? Will they have carrier
It'll be
deals?
cheap.
Will they give it
And
away?
you-
Will it be a Prime?
And you can buy stuff wherever you are. It's an Amazon cash register.
Well,
think
think
they
about
wanna-
the services that they
anywhere.
have now. They have Prime Video. They have Prime Music.
They just added music, yeah.
Yeah, and from what
That's
I
on
know
their
of the
tablets.
internet, yeah, exactly. But if they have it
Right.
on their phone, we get on VentureBeat, for example, 65% of our traffic comes from desktop. The next biggest one is mobile, and then tablets are there too. But right now,
I'm surprised you're still getting so much on
I
desktop.
am too.
Phones.
It should be the other way around.
people
I think.
are reading us at work. They're goofing off. Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah. Well, we'll find out. Wednesday we'll begin our live coverage. We're going to start TNT early, about 8:30, right? And then we'll begin the live coverage 9:30, 9:45 for the 10 a.m. Seattle time event. We will sit here and try to piece it together, figure
Are
out.
they streaming
what-
it? Do you know if they're streaming
I don't
it
think.
live?
Well, I don't know. Are they?
I don't think there's much to piece together. They show it. You know what it is. You're done.
I have to say, initially when Amazon started doing hardware, especially when they did the Kindle Fire H, the
Which
tablet.
everyone predict the doom of it by the.
Well, I thought it would be more innovative. And then they did the Fire TV, and I thought it would be more innovative. I thought
they're
maybe
pretty
they're going to do a deal
conservative.
with Prime or whatever. But pretty much their tablets and their TV, it's a Me Too product. It's very much like existing products. The only difference is it's a portal to Amazon. So I presume that this phone is going to be like that. Maybe the 3D will be unique. I don't.
I got to tell you, Leo, the Fire TV is an awesome streaming box. The voice search is excellent.
That's unique.
And the picture is at least from Amazon content is better than the picture you see on the Roku or the Apple TV.
So that's the way to watch
spectacular.
Amazon content. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can game on it. Have you gamed on it at all? Because it's essentially an Android
It's
device.
a Me Too game. It's a Me Too gaming box, and that doesn't draw me. But I have all three, and the picture on it is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal.
But, the Xbox One does voice, which I use surprisingly a lot. Although, well, the problem with the Fire TV, the voice search is only on Amazon. So it doesn't cross-search Netflix and the other services, which is kind of
At the moment, it does not.
Yeah.
But for example, last night I wanted to see the documentary Tim's Vermeer.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
And that's a hard. I suspect that most voice searches would not be able to pick up the Vermeer properly. It got it instantly, and it also plays instantly. On Apple TV and a Roku, you wait a little bit before it plays, and when you start playing, it just starts up immediately. So it's a much better experience, I think. I'm surprised how much I like it.
You guys want to speculate on price, carrier, size, anything about the phone? If they do a
I'll
phone?
speculate.
Yeah.
Virgin Mobile, $99 with 1,000 minutes.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, that would be. I'd sell. That'd sell.
Would you buy it?
My $30 deal I get from T-Mobile is pretty. I like it.
You have the internet deal where you only get 100 minutes a month, but you get unlimited bandwidth.
You get unlimited messaging, unlimited data, and 100 minutes of
for
voice.
$30. It's a great deal.
I don't talk that much.
Who does?
No, but everybody.
I don't know. I find I don't use the phone very much.
Well,
100 minutes would be plenty for me.
I think once you're over 30, maybe you just don't use it so much.
You young people, you still talk on the phone?
I'm 33, so no.
She's also over 30.
I'm also an introvert, so no.
Yeah, I think most geeks are introverts.
Yeah, I got her on the show, by the way, because she was supposed to be gotten on the show. I have to go through Erin. She won't talk to anybody.
Who's Erin?
Well, I have no idea where my
Erin,
my husband.
Oh, I was thinking ERIN, your
Conveniently,
assistant.
we're forgetting.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I
you're
had an
married
assistant.
now?
yes, she does have an assistant. It's called Erin.
Husband equal assistant.
Love you, baby.
Erin, if you're watching, she revealed no personal information
Today.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well,
Well, yeah, this show is young.
actually, the show is over, but I want to thank you, John C. Dvorak.
Are you going to finish the show up?
Yeah.
On time? Well, actually, you're a little early.
No,
what
I told you 4:30.
You're
I'm
going
8
to
minutes
rush
late.
off to something? What's the deal? Where are you going? What's
Got a
happening?
Hot date?
I got a
This
hot
hot date sitting over there on the couch.
That's right. My baby. I want to thank you, John C. Dvorak, for being here. ChannelDvorak.org. But more importantly, .com. But more importantly,
NoAgendaShow.com.
NoAgendaShow.com.
People should check it out. We get a lot of new listeners that say, for years you've been talking about the No Agenda Show. I finally listened.
And it's fabulous.
I love the show, they say.
Oh, that's great. We're going to try to get Adam on triangulation. I thought he'd be a good triangulation guest.
I think he should be on this show.
I don't want him on a news show. I think
this show.
We want to spend right. We want to spend time. We want to spend time with Adam.
Opportunity.
We want to spend time with Adam, getting to know him as opposed to just
you want to ride. He suspects an ambush. Yeah, that's what he's
like. What would I do?
You'd start giving him crap about something or other, or you'd dig up some of the dirt.
So you're saying that he would say no if I asked him?
Probably.
Really?
I'm just guessing because he loves the Twitch show.
He wants to be on this show.
Yeah, he loves
to
the Twitch
spew his fallacious.
Oh, now there you go. See, that's what he suspects.
Conspiracy theory driven, anti-scientific nonsense.
Very, very unconspiracy oriented. That guy.
Is he? Well, is it you then? Who is Crackpot?
Not me.
Who is Crackpot?
He's Crackpot.
And then you're
Buzzkill.
Buzzkill.
Yes.
So it seems to me that Crackpot's the guy who's coming up with the Crackpot stuff.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I want to watch that show.
It's not a show. See, there's another true believer.
I think he's being
We don't
facetious.
have a show to watch.
It's only audio.
We don't believe in video.
It is in the morning, though.
It is always in the morning someplace.
I want to thank
Or
Dwight's...
ITM, as they like to say.
ITM.
And
It's one of those shows, it's like all inside jokes, and then if you watch it
It's not
and you
all
know all the inside jokes, you feel like you're in the in crowd.
3 hours of inside material.
But then when you watch it, if you're not in the in crowd, you go,
listen.
I have no idea what's going on.
It takes a
So
couple of
just
shows.
like the World Cup then.
Jolie Odell is at
Yes.
Venture Beach. She's the managing editor, the woman in charge.
And we have a podcast now too. I
Tell me all about it.
my boss for a solid half hour and just give him crap. And we have special guests. It's called What to Think.
Now, who's your boss in this case?
Dylan Tweeney.
You and Dylan
Good
have a
guy.
podcast?
Dylan and I have a podcast.
Now,
yeah.
would I find this at
You know,
venturebeat.com?
the guy's got
Yes,
a
you
crush on
can.
you, right?
What-
You know
What?
this.
Where would I go?
No, his wife is wonderful.
I don't care. I'm just telling you.
He
I'm just warning
I swear
you.
to Christ, he doesn't.
Well, okay.
We're going to have a fist fight later.
I'm looking for the podcast.
well,
I don't
there's
see
a
it.
search box up there. Just type in What to Think.
What to think?
ITM.
What to Think.
Oh, I mistyped.
It's what you get from reading audiobooks.
I can no longer.
We have predicted the winner of the World Cup last 2 times it happened.
Last time it was Netherlands.
No, the last World
Spain.
Cup was Spain.
Who's going to win this year?
We haven't discussed it yet, but I'm of the opinion it's going to be Brazil, and I have a rationale for this.
I think so because it's in Brazil.
Well, there's that, and there's some other issues that I believe in. But Adam is really talented at nailing it.
Does he must be a soccer fan.
No, neither
So
one of us.
you neither one of you
No, we do it
actually
just based
follows
on-
the sport. You just make stuff up.
No, we don't make it up. We can tell by the game is rigged. Okay, it's fixed, and we figure out who's going to win on that basis.
And you call me cynical.
I'm not cynical. It's a fact. There's a big difference between cynical and knowing it's rigged.
Actually, I
They've
think,
been busted.
I
2 or
think
3
you make
times.
a strong case that they probably are. They certainly picking Qatar as the next
Yeah, there you
What?
go.
host site.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
In 8 years, the FIFA will be Qatar.
yeah. What a place.
Yeah.
Let's go play soccer in 130-degree weather.
And I think there was some allegations that the FIFA directors received payments for that.
Huh?
But do you think the actual game results? So how would you do that?
What
though?
a racket.
Would you pay money to the players?
It's a game. There's always they score 1 or 2 to nothing. You can call back. You've seen this. These
the
games.
referees get very involved in this.
Yeah, no, it's just,
I think it's the refs.
We'll talk about it.
Who would you pay off?
No agenda.
Who would you pay
the refs.
off? The refs.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest.
Yeah, of course.
There's only a handful of them. And they really do control the game.
Yeah, they can make it happen.
You're probably right. I don't want to assert that.
I will.
I like watching the game. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, John. And let's not forget Mr. Dwight Silverman of the Houston Chronicle. The tech blog is still around, yes?
Yes, sir. You betcha. blog.cron.com/techblog. And I'm quite verbose on the Twitter at @dsilverman.
Thank you, Dwight, for being here. We thank you all for joining us. We
Always
do this show
lively.
Yeah, this was a little more lively than I was prepared for. I'm told it's Qatar, not Qatar. Qatar is the thing that gets stuck in your
actually,
throat.
if you look it up, you can pronounce it either way.
All right.
It's Qatar.
Qatar, either one. It's
Qatar.
fine. And if you talk to, I in fact had lunch with a bunch of Qatarians once, a long time ago,
What did
and I
they
asked
say?
them specifically about this.
How do you
They said-
pronounce it?
They said, either way.
Yeah, whatever.
They didn't care.
We don't care. Just don't call us late for dinner. Something like
Exactly.
that. We do this show every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 UTC on twit.tv. If you watch live, you'll see all the things we edit out to preserve our sanity and reduce liability.
What? You edit stuff out? How did this happen? You don't have any
all of the
posts
bad
going
stuff
on.
out. Actually, this show, I think, might be the most heavily edited show we've ever done.
Why would you do
Really?
that? That's bull crap.
Wait, what did I do this time?
Not you, anyway. Again, if you're listening after the fact, you missed some of the most amazingly bizarre material we've ever done here. So watch live. If not, though, on-demand audio and video will be made available after the fact. Twit.tv is the website, but you can also find it on iTunes and the Xbox Store, anywhere podcasts are found. And I suggest you get the Twit app. There are apps from, we don't make any Twit app, but we have great third-party developers who have, out of the kindness of their heart and a desire to make lots of money, created Twit apps. You can find them on iOS, Android, even Windows Phone. Just search for the Twit app that you prefer and subscribe or listen on a regular basis.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Another Twit. Oh, thanks to our live audience, by the way. And if you'd like to be in the live audience, email tickets@twit.tv.
Or just come.
And you can sit in the front row.
Yeah, these guys.
They're all in the back.
They're all a bunch of guys that
They saw Jolie spill that beer, and they said, I'm moving back. Another Twit is in the can. Thanks, everybody.
Hey.